lot of you know, I'm the founder of this organization. I want to go and tell you a little bit about why this was founded and how it happened. I moved to New York City. I learned that 12 million animals were euthanized a year. I adopted a dog and cat that were purebred. And at the time, that year, nobody was talking about adoption whatsoever. It was all about breeds and dog shows. So I created, as an entrepreneur, which I've been my whole entire life, the very first premier media company to support animal rescue. New York Times, Vanity Fair, Fox all said we brought celebrities and pop culture to the animal rescue world. Why? Because I knew if everyone brought awareness to you could adopt any dog, any size, any breed, we could bring that number down. 10 books out, 5 TV shows, 3 Guinness World Records. That number's now down to 2 million. And the most important thing about this is that we realize in this world what the importance is of animals in our lives, but also helping the underdog. In 2012, I was blessed with a stalker bully that ruined my entire life. At that time, I was on the Today Show and had a primetime show on CBS. A person created 40 anonymous email addresses to destroy my life. So people know. And I have to say, today, it was the greatest blessing of my life. At that time, it wasn't. But in that year, the next year, I ended up going to Honduras on vacation, not realizing it was the murder capital of the world. No one would go with me, but I still went because, you know, I'm from a little town in Ohio and I have no fear. So I went to Honduras and I ended up volunteering for an organization that gives microloans to poor women, making $1 a day in this community. I was supposed to stay there for a couple hours. I ended up staying there for 3 days on a dirt floor. And I interacted with all these women because I was astonished on the stats that these women pay back these loans at a 98% rate. Men in the 60% range. I'm not generalizing, by the way. But that is a huge percentage. And when women earn money, and these are true facts, 90% of that money goes to educate their children and provide for their families. Most importantly, when women are empowered in business, they have self-confidence and dignity. They don't allow human rights violations. And when women earn money, 90% of that money goes to educate their children and provide for their families. So I knew after leaving Honduras and experiencing this, I could take what I learned in the animal rescue world and I could bring it to the women's world. So I came back to New York and I created a day in the world. There was Bubble Bath Day, there was Turtle Day, but there was never Women's Entrepreneurship Day. And what I learned in Honduras is that if we bring a simplified movement in the world and teach people why it's so important to empower women in business, we could truly alleviate poverty, but also change the world. So Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio that year proclaimed the day as an official day. So this is an official day in the world, November 19th, all over the world. And then I called on everyone I knew around the world. Woo! Then I called on everybody I knew around the world, and I said, who do you know in your country would be the greatest people to represent our movement, to bring governments, business leaders, and civil society together to collaborate to find solutions to uplift women in business? I am proud to say that we're in 144 countries around the world today. We are celebrated in 111 universities and colleges. We are being live streamed today in Uganda, in Mongolia, in Sri Lanka, in Saudi Arabia, and everywhere around the world is watching this. Woo! Dorothy, you're watching. Woohoo! Anyway, she's in Uganda and she represents our movement there. And so, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the people that support us. I want to say again, we're all volunteers and none of us get paid. I don't get paid. I'm a glutton for punishment. And I love this more than anything because there's nothing in the world better than to experience being with people that have less than you and to realize how lucky you are in life and to give back in the world. So our movement is not about fame, money, or power. It's about purpose, and it's about helping those that really need help. So thank you. Woo! That was a lot. I remember most of it. Okay, so I want to thank a few people that really supported us. I want to thank Walmart. I want to thank Shannon and Estee Lauder. I want to thank Eileen, woohoo, at Bridgewater. I want to thank Larry at OWC. Woo! I want to thank Nuveen, right? I want to thank Munich RE. I want to thank Hintwater. And I want to thank Amazon. Woohoo! So today, what Women's Entrepreneurship Day is about is to celebrate and empower women in business. And what I learned in this journey is so many women in our time were never recognized, ever. And one person especially is Dellimore. And the reason we actually can email and do everything, but never got credit for that invention until she was 80 years old. So this day is to celebrate those that have really made a difference in this world and are people that we can look up to. So I welcome all of our Pioneer Award winners to the stage. Anna, Eileen,
Yes.
Kathleen, please come to the stage.
Where's
Woo! Kathleen King. Marianne Thompson Frank, please come to the stage. Shannon Shannon's here. Woo! Shelly's here.
Anna's here.
Oh, Princess Märtha, please come to the stage. Woohoo! Everyone's here now.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, in accordance with UN tradition, we will not go by this order. So we have an amazing array of awardees here tonight. And I want to start by the first person, Shelley Zales, who's the founder of OTX Global Technology. She will receive the Technology Pioneer Award. Shelley has been amazing. She started her pioneering work way back in 2002. Just 9 years, and in just 9 years, she became the largest and fastest growing research institution. Forget across all genders, by the way. So that is a really amazing achievement. And she's now the industry's top 25. In 2013, Shelley launched the Girls Lounge, which is really an informal platform for gathering women in a hotel room. She started with that process, actually. And today, this was at the Consumer Electronics Show. How many of you have been there to CES? Yeah, that is one of the best places to get new business done, actually. So she started that, and then in 2015, she received the Business of Equality Award. I'm putting that in. And she launched the Female Quotient, of which the Girls Lounge is one pillar, and is committed to advancing gender equality and women's empowerment in the workplace, essentially through collaboration, sisterhood, and activating solutions for change. And today, the Girls Lounge is the largest community of business women around the world. So we warmly welcome Shelley Zales. Now I have to get you the award.
Oh, thank you. I'm waiting.
Where's the award?
How many people have been to Shelley's Girls Lounge? Woo! This is an honor for us to honor her today. She's known for the Girls Lounge, but really, she's also a Technology Pioneer Award. And I want to say one thing about these awards that make these so special. These awards are not, crystal or silver. These awards are handmade by girls in an impoverished community in South Africa from an amazing organization called Lalela. They answer a few questions about their lives, and these girls who are literally the most impoverished girls in the world create these awards. Woo! Bless you.
This is a tremendous honor for me, receiving this award, especially a gift like this, which in my opinion is priceless. I just came from Africa, actually, from the villages, the Masai Mara, and it is true what Wendy said. Girls in the Mara cannot get an education. At the age of 12, they get married to very, very, very old men. They're one of 6 wives. They do participate in genital mutilation, which is a sign of being a warrior for a girl. And that is their life. But if you educate a girl, you educate a family, and they bypass that process. So this is a very personal gift for me. I mentor over 500 girls in Rwanda, in the Masai Mara, and I always say, one moment of mentorship leads to a lifetime of impact for them and for me. So this is a very important award for me. So thank you very much. I was the only female CEO in the top 25 my entire career. And I was always told to wait for the right time. And I always say, when you think with your head, you rationalize, you justify, you talk yourself in or out of something. But if you feel with your heart and you have that heartbeat moment, ba-boom, 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 you got to follow your heart, which is what I've always done. And when I had this idea to migrate research from offline to online, I was told it was not the right time because the only people online were wealthy old men with broadband connections. And so I was at a conference sitting next to the chief research officer of Procter & Gamble, the largest advertiser in the whole world. My bosses were in the front row, and I whispered to him, "Larry, when is the right time to come and talk to you about migrating research?" And he said, "Next week." And my bosses came over to me and said, "What did you say to him?" I said, "I just asked him, when is the right time? Because you told me there's going to be a right time." And he said, "Next week." And they told me that Paul will go, Ringo will go, Peter will go, and Star will go. And I'm like, "What about Shelley?" And they said, "Well, it's a man's world. We think that's the right team." And I said to them at that moment, if I'm not going to go, I'll cancel the meeting, and you all can wait for the right time. One of the things I always believed was I needed to not just be the first. The first is the one that creates the ecosystem, but usually fails, does not have the money, does not have the financing, and doesn't get it right. The second comes in, and they are the copycat. They copy everything you do, but they don't really know what's under the hood. The third is always the sweeper. They win. And there was no way in heck I was going to be the first, but not sweep. And I think that's the most important lesson in life for anyone innovating, building new blue sky. You have to have that belief in yourself through failure, through success, whatever it is. Don't give up. You must be the first, the second, the third. And we talk about visibility of women. We've been invisible and forgotten or written out of history. Katherine Johnson created the first trajectory to the moon for Alan Shepard. Grace Hopper created the first computer language. Susan Kare, Steve Jobs gets all the credit for Mac. But it was Susan Kerr, a woman who created the friendly, welcoming, inviting icons that made us all want to bring technology into our lives, simple and easy. There is nothing more important than bringing visibility to what we do, from the past to the present and to the future. Thank you so much for this very important award.
Shelley, thank you. And I think we all agree, today is the right time. Thank you. Thank you. So the next awardee, aptly, here's Shelley, who's got into the business of research. Next awardee is Eileen Murray, who runs the biggest hedge fund in the world, the $160 billion hedge fund. Eileen, thank you. Thank you for all you do. She's the co-CEO of Bridgewater Associates. Come, please. And as I said, it's the largest hedge fund of $160 billion. She had held senior positions at Morgan Stanley, and she also ran major divisions at Credit Suisse. And in the social impact realm, by the way, Eileen has been deeply committed on a number of causes. She's a member of the board of the Irish Arts Centre and has served as a board member of the Business Council for International Understanding. BCIU is one of the largest network of business owners around the world, CEOs, presidents, and chairmen. YMCA of Greater New York. Interesting, YMCA, not YWCA. Inwood House in Upper Manhattan and American Women's Empowerment, or Economic Development Corporation. And I think the list goes on, but the most important thing is Eileen is committed to women's empowerment, and we are delighted and honored to present the Financial Pioneer Award.
I'd like to say one thing. I'm beyond honored to meet her, and I think everybody in this room has a story. And Eileen, when I met her, you know, she was so humble and like, I had no idea. We met at some like movie thing, and I was like, oh, and then she's like, oh, here's my card. And I'm like, wow, that's a big title. And then I looked up the company, I'm like, this is huge. But what I love the most about Eileen is that she was brought up in a 2-bedroom apartment in the Bronx housing project with 9 brothers and sisters, right? And 2 parents. And I said, how did this happen? She said, I was just playing poker in the back thing and like da-da-da. And I'm like, wow. Anyway, so I'm honored, and our board was so honored to give you this award today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I love all the people in it. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Everyone right in here. Don't drop it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Wendy. I really am, and thank you for honoring me here today for the Women's Entrepreneurship Day. I really am honored, and when I say I'm humbled, I was humbled when I heard about this, but listening to everybody this morning, the fellows, some of the other people who are being recognized here for Pioneer Award, I thought maybe they made a mistake in giving me one, because I was like, oh my God, these people are they blow me away. Any event, I did grow up, as Wendy points out, up in the Dykeman Street housing projects at the tip of Manhattan. I have 5 brothers, 3 sisters. I lived in a neighborhood that was predominantly immigrants, and I really feel blessed by that experience. I have siblings who tell me we were poor. I honestly didn't know that. But in any event, there were people from Cuba, there were people from Tanzania, people from Ethiopia, people from Italy, people from Cuba. And the community that was formed was a bond that was a function of friendship amongst those people by sharing music, sharing their culture, and helping out with things. And it was just a beautiful place until drugs came in. So you could imagine, from my perspective, people from different religions. We had Holocaust neighbors on our floor in our housing project. We had people from, as I said, all over the place. So the notion of people being different or being treated differently was completely alien to me. If you'd met my mother, you would know that she was in charge, despite what my father might have thought. And so I had this rich upbringing where I was exposed to all these different kinds of people. Then I went to work, and when I was junior, I honestly didn't know that there were differences in terms of promotions or development as a function of gender or color or religion or anything else. Then as I got more senior, my eyes opened up to both the sometimes conscious, unfortunately, and unconscious biases of opportunities being not shared across the board with people based upon their merits. And so a lot of my time, both professionally and personally, I spend in terms of working with children that don't have opportunities for education that others might. And then two, I think that, the world's been pretty good to me, and I got to make sure that I'm there for other women. So in 1980, when I started out, it really was so apropos to say pioneer. Women in business was frontier land. And basically, we've made progress. We're at, I don't know, we went from 0.5% of whatever, 17 to 20. It's not sufficient. It's still frontier land. And my hope for the future, for Tomorrowland, is that promotions, development will be given on the basis of merit, not be barriers to people for different reasons. And I think we all have to join in that. So for me, little things too. Like I love this book that came out, Mansplaining. I have been the victim of mansplaining my entire life, where you say something, and it's like 20 minutes later, a guy says, it's like, oh my God, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard. Why didn't we think of that sooner? It doesn't really bother me anymore at this point in my career, but I do think that other women can help women express themselves, help other women be heard, help people who are different be heard, particularly if you're in a senior enough position to do that. I think that's so critically important. So anyways, thank you for this award. It means a great deal to me, and particularly here at the United Nations that embraces all different peoples is so emblematic. And I would ask you, thought for your consideration, help other women be heard, please. Help other women when they fall down, because they will. If you had 4 days, I could tell you about all my failures. They're going to be there. Don't worry about it. And lastly, my motto is ask for forgiveness, not for permission. So have a good day.
Thank you, Eileen. What an amazing story, and thank you for always being a mentor for other women. So, often we get drunk with money. Now I'm going to introduce you to somebody who will make you drunk with the real stuff, actually. Shari Staglin, who's founder of the Staglin Family Vineyard. And I have to tell you, what an amazing motto. Great wines for great causes. She's also a founder of One Mind, which does great philanthropy to help address mental illnesses around the world. She's contributed $1 billion of her own money, her family money, for this.
No way. No way.
And others. And the whole idea is, think of it. We hear about mental illnesses. We only try and deal with it after an incident occurs. We often try and analyze the problem. Shari tries to analyze the problem and address it before it happens, and uses music as one of the ways to address mental challenges. And we are honored to have Shari with us and to give her the Philanthropy Pioneer Award.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's take this up. Is this for? Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. I want to thank Wendy for inviting me to be part of this and for forming this incredible group, Women Entrepreneur Day, and also for nudging me all along to get here through the snow and the ice. It is wonderful, and I am so grateful to so many people, but mostly of all, my husband, Garen, who I met on a blind date 54 years ago at UCLA, and we kind of grew up together. We'd never met before, but after that, we dated a while, and I quit dating him. He was much too advanced physically. And then later on, I was, okay, I think I'll date him again. And so we got married in '68. We just had our 50th anniversary. And he has been, I always suggest, if you want to do something, if you want to start a company, start a nonprofit, start something, you need to find a good partner who can work with you and support you financially, or you need other investors to support you. But those are two things you have to have. Unconditional support from another partner who believes and has the same passion and love for what you're trying to accomplish as you do. Secondly, I want to thank my son, Brandon Staglin, who lives with schizophrenia, and he was able, with our help, to turn his tragedy into triumph. And he's doing so great. And I had told you a little bit about him this morning. And now he got his master's degree this past year, and he now is the president. Our board named him the president of One Mind. So my daughter's the president of the winery, and my son is the president of One Mind. That's what we call it, One Mind for brain research. And thirdly, I want to thank the hundreds of thousands of donors. No, it's not our family money. There is no family money. I wish there were. But I was raised in South Dakota, and not a well-off family, a poor family. We didn't know we were poor because nobody else had any money either. But we knew that, our only social life that we could afford was going to church. And so I was raised in the Christian church and always understood and believed in the golden rule: give unto others as you would do unto others, as you would have them do unto you. And we've heard that over and over today about how you should treat other people, and other women especially, men too. We like you guys too. But I still, that's a tenet that's lived with me my whole life. I also want to mention that, yes, I'm from South Dakota. So is Tom Brokaw. And he was on the news this morning saying that, and he didn't know anything about this day. He said, at the turn of the century, when, we hit 2000, I predicted that this would be the century for women. And he said, today I'm hearing this is the year of the woman because so many women won the Congress. 100 women coming to Congress, which is pretty fabulous, right? Yeah. And a lot of diversity, a lot of minorities as well. So we're pretty excited about that, but it was nice to hear him say that he believed in that at the turn of the century, and even more so now for the rest of the century. This is our century. Sorry, guys. We'll share it with you. I also want to thank the thousands of neuroscientists who have found so many incredible answers, and I mentioned a couple of those this morning. How to identify the prodrome, the steps leading up to one of these brain diseases or mental illness before you get it, which is already being used throughout the country. The other thing is the digital therapies as well as monitoring that are working. And we had a lot of good networking this morning with other women on my panel, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them. I have 1 minute, 29 seconds left. Okay. So I do want to leave you with some ideas. Today, 40 people will die in a car accident. Our country spends $168 billion a year to keep our country, our roads safe. Today, 50 people were murdered. And you read about every one of them in the local or the national news. Today, 100 people will take their own life by suicide. And you won't hear of any of them unless they are Robin Williams, Kate Spade, or Anthony Bourdain. So we're spending $8 billion a year on brain health, research, mental health. Why is it that we are only spending 1/21st of what we're spending on our highways and 1/23rd of what we're spending for other causes of death like murder? It is kind of a terrible thing because brain health, mental health is the largest unmet need and the most widespread cause of disability in the world. And I have no time left, 6 seconds. I'll leave you with that. But I do say, come to our September 14th, 2019 Music Festival for Brain Health. It's our 25th annual one. And it will be wonderful on our vineyard, September 14th. And also go on onemind.org and donate. Thank you.
Thank you for the amazing story, Sherry. And did we give her the nice award? Good. So the next awardee is from the royal family of Norway, and we're honored to have Princess Märtha Louise, who runs her own foundation to help disabled children around the world. And she does that in an amazing way. She produces books, stories, fairy tales, Norwegian fairy tales, and she appears on TV just to make sure that the disadvantaged do not feel disadvantaged, just to make sure that they feel that they are part of society. Princess Märtha, we are honored to have you here. We know that the Norwegians are great supporters of the work of the UN, always follow the principles of social justice and equity, along with other Nordic countries. And we are honored to have you here and delighted to present to you the Political Pioneer Award at the United Nations. Welcome. I think this should work. Welcome.
Thank you so. Does it work? Can you hear me? Okay. I'll take this one. It's easier. Thank you so much for a wonderful, speech of me. Some things were correct, some were not. I was given a fund when I was 1 year old, so I'm grown up in the royal family. I was the firstborn of the crown prince at the time, but because I'm a girl, my brother, who's younger, is now to take over. So even in Norway, these things happen, at least in the 70s. Not anymore. But when I was 1, I got this fund from a media group in Norway, a fund for disabled children. Now, when I was 6, my mother thought it was important that I get to know the people I was helping through the fund. And I remember I had an amazing experience with a person who was deaf and blind. And it was the first time I met a person who didn't communicate through words, but through movements in the hand, like they did sign language in the hand. And to me, this experience was such an eye-opener, because I'm a highly sensitive person. It means that I'm like an app downloading all kinds of information from everybody. So if you have a bad leg or a bad knee, shoulder, I would feel it. If you're sad, I will feel it. I'm an empath. So having that kind of communication with people through emotions was a different way of approaching people than normal communication, because it's always through words. And we always say, or most of the time, we say something different with our mouths than what our emotions actually say. So this was very confusing to me growing up. where I thought everybody was like me, and they're not. So meeting this person, where I saw that you can communicate through sign language, through different areas of your body, was such an eye-opener to me. And after that, I've been searching all my life to find the best possible communication, both for you within and for people around you. And that's why I have broken all the rules of being a royal person. And I've been really bad at living up to expectations of being a princess. And I've funded 2 companies, being an entrepreneur, where one of them is a soul-searching entrepreneurship, guiding mostly women to find their true calling in life and to empower them to step up and be who they are through life. And I think that's one of the most important things we can do today, because I truly believe that women are, as others before me today have said, that we are the taking over now, and we have to step up. But to do that, we need to know who we are. We need to establish our own contact with our inner calling, with our heart. And to follow our hearts, we need to be able to listen inwards. And I think this is one of my biggest passions in life, to teach people to do that. Because through society, in general, we learn to think with our minds. We learn to be clever about things, and we end up in places where we have no passion. We have to follow our hearts. And I want to leave you with this. My father always told me that you have to be true to who you are. Otherwise, people will see straight through you. And I think you might have regretted this a few times, because I've done so many weird things that I wasn't supposed to, and ended up places that I shouldn't, because I follow my heart. But really and truly, we all have to do that. We have to dare to be game changers. We have to dare to be who we truly are and follow our passions, because our passions are the ones that will drive us forward and make amazing things happen in the world. Thank you so much for this prize. I'm truly, truly honored.
Thank you. Yes. Princess Märtha, thank you very much for an amazing story. As far as we're concerned, you are the next queen. Yeah. And of course, if you have the queen, you also need the king. And the next recipient is Kathleen King. Yeah. Kathleen is the founder of Tate's Bake Shop. She's amazing. She sold her business to the OREO giant Mondelez International for $500 million, 500 million. So amazing, actually. And she has been hugely successful globally, but her mission, her passion to help women and girls around the world has not changed one single bit. She is constantly at it. She's created, she works with the Bella Abzug Institute. She's created an initiative in fond memory of her mother, Millie King, where she teaches entrepreneurships to high school girls. And we warmly welcome Kathleen King. Kathleen, welcome. Oh, I'll give you this.
Hi, thank you. Jenny, I feel your pain with the paper here. Buttoned up was never one of the adjectives to describe me. Sorry. Thank you very much for this honor. I started my journey into the entrepreneurial world when I was 11 years old. selling cookies from my dad's farm in Southampton. After graduating a 2-year SUNY college, I opened my first bake shop at 20 years old. I ran the bake shop working 18 hours a day for the first 3 years, then purchased my own building at 23, where the bakery still operates today. My business plan to double my business to afford the mortgage was, well, I can do that. I continued working 18-hour days, and slowly in my 30s got a day off, and then two in a row. At 40 years old, I took on partners so I could have more of a life, and started the biggest journey ever. I lost my company, Kathleen's Bake Shop, all my money, and started over 9 months later with $200,000 in debt, my house for sale, no money in the bank. I had a new brand to create, goals to set, and a mission not to be a victim. Through this process, I learned everything I needed to know on how to create a business and, more importantly, a life. Letting go of attachments, guilt, and emotions was key to my success and a drama-free life. With Tate's Bake Shop, I was able to execute quickly, have no fear of losing, and manage my staff better. Sorry. I was blessed to be raised by a very strong mother. I often think about her empowerment and what she passed on. She always made me manage my own problems, pushed me when I was afraid, and taught me to stand on my own 2 feet. Dad always said, cover your ass, because no one else will do it. As a woman, we really are responsible for so much, especially our daughters and other women. My whole foundation came from a strong woman. Please remember, if you want strong girls, you must never put yourself down. You must not comment negatively on your looks, and you must not comment and gossip with your friends and put other women down. Do not show you are dependent on a man, or anyone for that matter. Survive the storms with grace and integrity. Actions will plant the seeds, not your words. If you become financially successful in your career, give back, help others, and remember, money makes no one better than anyone else. Don't flaunt it, because money is the biggest drug in America, and people want to use you for it. Do not fear failure. My epic failure turned out to be the greatest gift in my life. Yes, we have to survive the storm, which is hard, but keep the faith that everything is happening for a reason, which usually brings you to a better place. Life is fast and short. There's no real recipe for success except perseverance and fortitude. Live your life and your job daily. Don't wait for the next best outcome, money, better body, a husband, or a house. Be kind all the way up the ladder. So when you fall, and we all fall, the way down will be a lot softer. I am grateful for organizations like WEDO that continue to fight the fight, educate, set examples, and inspire. Thank you for all making the world a better place.
Thank you, Kathleen, for those amazing words of guidance and inspiration. I wonder if you have them somewhere on the website, because everybody would benefit with those kinds of wise counsel. Thank you. So the next recipient is the Civic Pioneer Award, and that goes to Marianne Thompson-Frank. Marianne is a human rights activist, and she works and believes in social justice. She negotiated the first ever treaty between the Hopi and the Navajo tribes a few years ago. She's actually been part of the Liberian Truth and Reconciliation Commission. She has programs globally to empower humanity. She started with School in the Box in Mexico, and now she's taking it to Haiti, to Jordan, to other parts of Africa, Romania, and also bringing it home here in the U.S. And we're honored to have Marianne here with us. Marianne, please join us. A warm welcome to you.
It's okay.
Good.
Thank you. First of all, I want to recognize my mom, Deborah Thompson, who at 81 years old made her way here to be with me today. So thank you. 40 years ago, she decided it would be worth it to take a chance on a child and adopt her and bring her into this country. And now, when I travel throughout this country and I call home, one of the things she says to me is, make sure that you let me know that you got there safely and ICE didn't get you. And I just want to say that the fact that somebody with my DNA is getting to have this being written in the congressional record means that I'm not an infestation. And if I have the potential and power to get back to society the way I am, every one of those child in a cage has that potential too. Every human being has the right to give back to society. Every human being has the ability to make that difference. The difference between being able to go and have an impact in the world and not having impact is an education, an opportunity, and somebody believing in you. It's not always easy to do. I was brought up with a hearing loss. I was born with it. I had to eat lips. I still eat lips to hear a lot. If I was to say to you the words crown and crayon, I cannot hear the difference. I learned it the way a dancer learns choreography. Those are opportunities I got by living in this country because someone put a rubber glove on their hand and taught my tongue to put around it. Now I've spoken at TEDx, I've spoken in the White House, here at the UN, and the House of Lords. The difference is because someone believed in me and said, let's help that child because she might one day have something to say. And now I have things to say for people that do not have the opportunity to speak up for themselves. And every single one of you in this room has that opportunity, because if you are in this room, you are among some of the most powerful people that have ever walked this earth. You have a voice. Every single one of you has the opportunity to make an impact. And I know today one of the main reasons why I stand before you is because I had a father named John Philip Thompson. I had a father.
Try the other one. Yeah. There you go. Try this.
Thank you. He's up there somewhere and wanted to make sure you got his name, so I'll say it again. I had a father named John Philip Thompson, who was the CEO of 7-Eleven. And the only reason why I was adopted was because I was born at 7:11 a.m. on Mother's Day in 1977. And a priest said, I guess this one's meant to go over there. And when you realize that every opportunity you have in life is because of something you did nothing to earn, and I did nothing to earn the money, I did nothing to earn the education, all I can do with my life is reach up to the bar that was set by the generations before me. And the bar that was set was much more than what they did in terms of creating a company. They used 7-Eleven to fight the Ku Klux Klan. They used 7-Eleven to fight for integration. They used it to stand up for people that had disabilities. And they did all that before I ever entered their lives. So for all of you that are entrepreneurs today, what I want to encourage you to do is take a look at the choices that come across your desk, because it's much more than money. It's people's lives. And when you recognize that you're making decisions for people's lives and you take that into your hands and into account as you make your business deals, you are shaping this world. That is the power that you have. And right now, as we live in a world that is increasingly globalized and more interconnected than ever before, we as a society and as humanity have the power to and responsibility to be tomorrow's ancestors, and to do that with the full breadth and self-knowledge of how we can shape the world of tomorrow. Every one of you has that potential. Now, some of our stories may illustrate it more than others, but those stories are just there to inspire you. So I want to thank all the people that are at my table that have been part of helping the Mimnesing Institute become a reality. Many of them are elders, but they have helped to make this difference. So if I've made any difference in the world, especially with my husband, Joshua Frank, if I've made any difference in this world, it's because they've worked with me. Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. Wicked. Thank you. Marianne, what a story. And thank you, Mrs. Frank, for being here with your daughter. Warm welcome to you. So the next recipient is the Beauty Pioneer Award. And by the way, yay! So for the first time, the men will have an opportunity to learn, because Shannon Dellimore, who's the founder and creative director of GLAMGLOW, caters for men as well, by the way, in case you didn't know that. So whoever wants a little patch here on your cheeks or whatever, talk to Shannon. Shannon, we are delighted to have you here, and thank you for all you do to make us feel good and look good. Thank you. That's it. You want to use this?
I don't know about going after her, but okay. Here I go. I don't know. I'll make you all look a little sexier, I guess. Okay. Anyways, good afternoon. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you all today. Let me start by telling my mother and my daughter, who are both here with me today, along with every other woman in this room, that you are beautiful. Beautiful in many ways, because beauty is not what you see on the outside. It's deeper than that. Beauty is found in character, intelligence, strength, courage, and determination. That is what makes us all truly beautiful. Okay, I gotta use my cards. Okay. The beauty industry is often criticized for setting impossibly high standards, for making women feel they aren't pretty enough, they aren't thin enough, their skin isn't smooth enough, and their hair isn't thick enough. But I am proud to stand here today representing an incredible group of female beauty entrepreneurs who are changing that. GLAMGLOW is a pioneer in a new crop of beauty companies helping women feel comfortable in their own skin, celebrating what makes each one of us unique. There are moments in life where you ask yourself, how did I get here? This is definitely one of those moments for me. When I look back on my youth, I was raised by my mother, who taught me that being beautiful means having brains and integrity. She was a single mother, she worked hard, juggling everything, and she survived breast cancer to see me standing here today. Now that I'm a mother, woo, I feel like I have to woo. Now that I am a mother of a young girl myself, my London. In years ahead, remember, nothing is beyond your reach as long as you follow your dreams and you never give up. With hard work, you can accomplish anything you can possibly imagine. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I'd be standing before you today. I had a successful career as a paralegal, and I never planned to start a business. But I had an idea, and I did what every woman does best. I multitasked. I worked my day job, I took care of my baby, and at night I did research. Late at night, researching the internet to find ingredients for a product that I wanted to create for an actor friend. I searched for a lab who would make a batch of mud that was small enough that we could afford to make it, but I had many doors slammed in my face. But I refused to give up. I finally convinced the owner of a small factory to make a tiny batch, and of course, that owner was a woman. She saw something in me, and she gave me a chance. One of the things that I'm most proud of is the fact that I did not come from the beauty industry. I learned everything along the way, and I never took no for an answer. I was determined, and in 2011, GLAMGLOW turned the beauty industry on its head and reinvigorated the mask category. If there is one thing this journey has taught me, is that you can do anything as long as you have determination and perseverance, and nothing is impossible. Women must support each other now more than ever before. Women are empowering girls and women together. We must be mentors, motivators, and drivers of change. Women have the power to create change in the world. Thank you to Wendy for creating this incredible movement, and my dear friend Katie Chin, who is the Southwest Regional Ambassador, who brought me into this amazing place. But thank you all for this incredible honor.
Yes, Shannon, you get to take it with you. No. So I know lunch is getting served. So we want to share with you an exciting award now, a fashion award to Anna Sui. Anna is an amazing, beloved designer. She uses vintage styles and creativity to produce clothes for all of us. She has 50 boutiques in 8 countries around the world, and her work is sold in, I think, 300 plus stores in over 30 countries. Anna, we are delighted to have you here, and we are delighted to give you this Fashion Pioneer Award. Here you are.
Thank you. Hello?
Okay, try this one.
Hello? Yes. Thank you so much. It's truly an honor to be here. I want to thank Wendy and the Women's Entrepreneurship Day members, but I'm just so blown away by this stage of women, listening to everyone's story. You know, so many people come up to me and say, what's the key to success? Their stories are. You can hear it in their voices. You can hear it coming from their hearts. And I think really that's what it's about. We believed in something. We had a passion for something and a determination. And I think that that's the key to success. That's the key to life. And I'll tell a little bit about my story. Since I was 4 years old, my family says I was talking about being a fashion designer. I'd come to New York for my uncle's wedding, and I went back home to Michigan, and I said, when I grow up, I'm moving to New York, and I'm going to be a fashion designer. I don't think I knew what a fashion designer was. I don't think I knew until I really started working, but to me it sounded glamorous, and it sounded like I could live in New York. So as a kid, it was like, okay, now how do I do this? I did everything to learn how to sew. I loved fabric. I loved going shopping with my mother to the fabric department and looking at patterns. And I had to learn. I had to teach myself what the techniques were. But then I saw an article in Life magazine about 2 young women that went to Parsons School of Design, and when they graduated, they moved to Paris, and Elizabeth Taylor opened a boutique for them. So as a little kid in the suburbs, I thought, okay, I've got the magic key. All I have to do is go to Parsons, and I'll get to move to New York. Years later, I went back and reread that article. I didn't understand at that time. One of the young ladies, her stepfather was Irving Penn, the legendary fashion photographer. But the reason why I tell this story is because this is what we need. We need a dream. We need this dream to aspire to, because a dream can go beyond logic, reason, math, anything that you're trying to figure out. There's nothing like having a dream. And I think that that's the other key to all of these stories, is that we all had a dream. So my motto in life has been to students, to anyone, You have to live your dream. So I truly am so honored to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Whoa.
You can't leave without this. Please go back. We're going to take a group picture.
Sure. Okay. I'll go around.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. And now, just as you're starting to have lunch, I'm going to invite Wendy back to the stage to come and join the awardees for a special group picture. And then what we'll do is we will make the awardees work a little bit, get them to step down so that the photographers can take a panoramic picture here. Wendy, come.
So what we'd like to do, well, first of all, can we please give a hand of applause to these incredible women? Woo! Tate. What we'd like to do today is we'd like to get a photograph of everybody in the room. And I know this is a hard task, but we're going to try and we're going to do it. We're going to do it in 3 shots. We're going to do one this way, and one this way. And we hope everyone will stand up and be a part of it because we want to remember this moment and this important time in history. Woohoo! And also, I want to thank another very important person, Congresswoman Grace Meng. Yusei Khan, are you here? Yeah. Yusei Khan, our former Business Pioneer Award winner, Yusei Khan introduced me to Congresswoman Grace Meng. She's the youngest woman in Congress. She's the vice chair of the Democratic Party, National Committee. She also is on the Appropriations Committee. But she, in one afternoon at Yusei Khan's house, when I was telling her about Women's Entrepreneurship Day, literally the next day, I get a call from her office. We would love to recognize all the women entrepreneurs that are being recognized today in the congressional record and announced in Congress. Woo! For their accomplishments in this world and how they're the most amazing role models for everyone here. We want to recognize Restart Academy, and we want to, woo! And Restart Academy is an amazing school in New York City, as well as the Astoria Women's Leadership School, woo! That have joined us because of your support today. We've sponsored 50 girls to attend this and be amongst all of you. This day for them will inspire them forever and make them realize they can do anything in this world after listening to these stories and being amongst all you today. Thank you. Oh, and really big announcement. I forgot. Okay, so we already raised like $60,000. Woo! So that means times that, I'm horrible at math. 60, Eileen, you're good. What is that? Wait, 60 times 3. So we is it 180,000? Okay, so 180,000 was raised today because of the matching by 2 other people, and that means we have funded today this lunch 1,800 women with microloans to start their own businesses. Literally, that money, as I mentioned, they can start their own businesses in these small communities, and that means it'll better the whole community and uplift this whole entire world. So thank you, everybody, for joining.